This is Things You Might Have Heard, and I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and I'm ready to present to you yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture. This is your go-to supplemental source for both mainstream and unconventional news stories that some you may have missed, but we add a little context to all of them. We have 8 stories for this morning, starting off with the teaser graphic if you're watching the video, and it's the drawing because there are no cameras inside of the courtroom of Donald Trump doing his testimony, and oh boy, did he do some testimony yesterday. We'll have that, plus, as we said, 7 other stories that were vetted by you and curated by me into this newscast for this morning. We'll explain the vetting process and how the headlines work in just a bit. Plus, we have today some fun stuff at the end, so stick around for all that. More information about the full offerings of the Conversation Project, visit our website at theconversationproject.com. We begin our headlines run through right now, 8 of them today for the today, and today happens to be Tuesday, November the 7th, 2023. The headlines, 8 of them that you said were pretty conversational, beginning with the top story of them all, which is Donald Trump explodes on witness stand, calling AG a hack, accusing judge of fraud. Now, this one we pulled from the New York Post, but of course, everyone covered the story because it was the biggest story. There were other larger headlines, a lot of things going on, so a lot of news got through, but everyone had a chance to take a crack at Donald Trump. Some calling his testimony just a series of word salad. Some detailing how Donald Trump would get a question from the AG. It'd be kind of a simple open-ended question. He'd sort of ramble for a while. The judge would get frustrated, look at his defense lawyers, and they'd be like, what do we want to do? He's answering the question. He's just answering in a poor way. It was contentious for a bit. You can also tell from the changing of the tone from being fiery opening up into going into the trial to being fiery inside the first part of the trial, going to lunch, then coming back where Donald Trump was a bit more subdued in Donald Trump language, where he realized that some of the ramblings he did early on, including pulling out a document that said it would prove himself to be innocent, yeah, he may have put his foot in his mouth and he knew it and there was nothing he could do to stop it. Of course, somewhere along the line, I think Donald Trump may testify a little bit longer today. I'm not quite sure how that's working out. But Wednesday, they're expecting Ivanka Trump to be on the stand, who may do a lot like Donald Trump, except with better hair and a lot less grumpiness. We'll see how that plays out. But the trial of Trump, the first time he's been on the stand for one of these things, he takes the stand many times and acts like this, has been exactly as advertised and pretty much as bad as you would think. He's probably going to lose his businesses, and that's just what's going to happen. Our second story, second police officer acquitted in death of Elijah McClain. This story is extremely sad, where the 3 police officers that were on the scene for Elijah McClain, the young man who was walking wearing a ski mask and was literally accosted by police officers in just going to stop by the store, went into an arrest, went into a serious seizure, was given a ketamine as a drug to hopefully revive him. It did not revive him. He died. 2 of the police officers have been acquitted of the charges. 1 did face some charges, and the emergency responders who were on the scene are dealing with separate charges. But right now, we're looking at the second police officer getting off for this, I'm going to say it in my words, crime for the death, for the responsibility of Elijah McClain. Right now, people in the family and people supporters of McClain are dealing with this in a serious, severe way. Just sort of may take it one day at a time. As I said, 2 other first responders still have a trial to come, but we will see how this plays out going forward. Dad of Highland Park parade shooting suspect pleads guilty to reckless conduct for helping son obtain gun. There really isn't much you can do about this, but just kind of go along with it. The father of the Highland Park shooter from last year, the person who shot up a parade during Christmas time, because we don't really have a real reason why. He just was in that sort of distress. He was just that person. Should not have gotten a gun. He should not have gotten a weapon. And his father actually helped him get a weapon after having issues getting it on his own. He's pleaded guilty to reckless conduct for helping his son get that gun. We'll see how this plays out. We'll see how the trial for the young man will actually play out going forward as well. Nike sues New Balance and Skechers for patent infringement over sneaker technology. I'm not a sneakerhead, so I don't know what the big sneaker technology right now is, but apparently it's big deals for what's not just the look and the feel, but what it actually does. And Nike is suing 2 companies, both New Balance and Skechers, because they're saying that they are stealing their IP, stealing their flow, if you will, taking infringement of technology from Nike, the granddaddy of them all, and using them on the offshoot brands, both New Balance and Skechers. Not top 10 brands, maybe top 10 brands, but not top tier brands per se for luxury that you see your ball players wear. You don't see too many basketball players with big time deals with Skechers. You see retired guys with big time deals with Skechers. And New Balance is known as shoes for runners, just sort of basic shoes. And because I buy a lot of New Balance myself because they're comfortable for my feet. But Nike is saying that New Balance and Skechers are pulling their IP, so they are pulling them into court to deal with this. Our next story: former Missouri teacher made nearly $1 million from OnlyFans account. We have way too many stories like this, and this is one I actually pulled from my local station here, KARK Channel 4, and it's semi-local because Missouri is a neighboring state and they have resources that reach into Missouri because they're neighboring state things. And this is a teacher who essentially quit teaching because OnlyFans was paying the bills and paid the bills big time. Now, this is an outlier. Don't just go out and open an OnlyFans account because everyone can't make $1 million. The circumstance behind this woman making $1 million, maybe not quite, no astronomical, maybe not quite getting hit by lightning, but it does take the right time, the right person, and the right, let's say, marketing to make sure you hit those marks. Everyone that goes on OnlyFans doesn't make $1 million. Everyone that goes on OnlyFans does not make any money, to be honest. Some people don't. I'm doing this thing on YouTube, and YouTube is not paying me for doing these actual videos because I'm not at that level yet. But it gives me something. Not $1 million, not a bunch of fans looking for me and, undress, but this person has the popularity and the cash flow to not teach anymore. Says something about the teaching profession, although it probably is not worth $1 million. Says something about the OnlyFans profession, air quotes, which probably isn't worth $1 million either, but people will pay it for that. Disney is hiring Pepsi exec as CFO as Bob Iger tries to fend off Nelson Peltz's hedge fund. There are some issues going on with Disney. Disney is trying to fight off a bit of a takeover as it's not doing so great. And when companies aren't doing so great, that's the best time for someone to come outside and just take it over and break it up and do what it can to make money off the pieces, as opposed to try to build the brand up going forward. They're hiring, being Disney, a man named Hugh Johnson. He used to run PepsiCo as of a little while ago. Now he's going to come into the Disney umbrella to help them figure out ways to fight off this hedge fund invasion, how to keep Disney afloat, how to right the ship, both in theme parks and entertainment. We've talked a lot about the streaming services not making any money. Disney Plus, one of those streaming services, definitely not making any money, and the loss of money on some of its major deals, including some Star Wars things that haven't quite gone as well as they thought, and the Marvel things that definitely aren't going as well as they thought, including the fact that they're going to have to deal with the whole question, if you will, about Kang the Conqueror, what to do about their star that may not be able to do much more starring going forward. Bad press right now, but will it happen to actually not be able to do any more work? Figuring that part out. Maybe that Mr. Johnson can help out Disney fix this out, or maybe Disney will just kind of keep on going. We shall see as this one plays out going forward. You have to kind of see the actual video for this one or read the story to get the deep details. But here's one that was an early one and just basically at the cusp of running out of time. But this is one that we've got time to get to for this Tuesday. Texas Southern band member punches Heckler while playing tuba. During a concert, during a performance, playing in the crowd, playing at a football game, Texas Southern, one of the more famous, because there's lots of HBCUs and lots of bands out there. Me growing up in Louisiana, and Grambling and Southern were kind of the key, but Texas Southern has a pretty gosh darn good band themselves. In fact, good enough that when Heckler was kind of reaching out and screaming from the sidelines, one of the tuba players kind of stepped out of formation, punched a guy, went back in formation without missing a beat, literally, except for the beats he had to do to kind of swing that punch. It's something you need to kind of check out for yourself, because that's some talent right there. I don't think my Louisiana Tech marching band of pride could do something like that. But hey, I still love my Louisiana Tech, but you got to give them much love to the HBCUs for doing their thing. Because to be honest, most people don't go for the football. They go to see the bands. And finally, for this morning, George R.R. Martin hilariously reassures fans he's still riding the winds of winter. George R.R. Martin is the author of the Game of Thrones and other books in that universe, if you will. I've never seen one of the episodes. I've never read a book. I don't particularly care for those. Well, I care for fantasy style fiction and fantasy style movies. Game of Thrones just didn't have the time for the hype and not into it. However, people are. And however, George R.R. Martin pretty much really bad at writing things on a deadline. Always behind, always late. And because people really want to read it or see it in some sort of venue, they'll wait for it. They'll complain a lot. They'll complain a lot, but they'll wait for it. George R.R. Martin gave a hilarious reassurance to fans that he's still working on The Winds of Winter. Check out the link we have for the story, and you can see exactly what went down in that one. In the apologies, errors, and omissions section, we're going to apologize for going through that pretty quickly because once I realized I got started, I realized I didn't have a script. So hopefully I gave you the essence of the stories pretty well without having the full scripts written down. I didn't realize I didn't port those over properly. I just have the headlines in my notes. No errors to really report. Omissions. 2 stories we're not talking about today, dealing with books. Number 1, and this was the top story for the day, and so this is one that really should have been one we put into the 8 stories, but we had a lot of things to get into, so this is one we can check out on the back end. Megan Fox writes about miscarriage, love addiction, mistrust, and more in Pretty Boys Are Poisonous, her memoir coming out very soon, so look for that. And former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows sued by a book publisher over breach of contract. Check out the book news we have inside of our feeds, the links we have there, and just search them up on yourselves because these are interesting stories. Megan Fox, the latest femme fatale actress, if you will, putting out a book about her life and her loves and things she's done, and finding out that she's really is a bit more complicated, more complex, and interesting as a person than she may seem as sort of the cutout, good-looking face that she does, and sort of the cutout, good-looking face she is in her movies, and just the chick that hangs out with that guy with all the tattoos. We can see more about her or read more about her coming soon. We'll see if this one will have Britney Spears sort of numbers or Prince Harry sort of numbers coming through. Let's talk about our teaser story for the morning, and this is where we give you a chance to talk about the feeds and how they work for all of us, because it's all a communal thing to us all. Go to our feeds, our spots on Facebook and Twitter. Twitter.com or x.com/th_conversation and Facebook.com/This is a Conversation Project. What you see at the feeds are stories, news stories we post every 50 minutes that allow you to engage in them. And those engagements you have with the stories allow me to find out what stories to choose. We chose for this Tuesday morning the top 15 stories of the 31 that got posted in the last 25 hours. I'm sorry, 30 hours, because it's 24 hours plus about 4 or 5 hours in the morning of this morning. And we took the top 15 stories and we pulled 8 of those to give to you in the newscast. Not as well as normal because we didn't actually pull the actual scripts over, but you get the gist of it. You have the links. You can check out the full details in the links in all our offerings. We choose those stories by getting you a chance to get to pick them. Maybe this story here, which is already posted, is one you may want to talk about. Go find it and engage in it so we get there. Headline reads, C.J. Stroud spoke up for prison reform after record-breaking game. Quote, the whole criminal justice system is corrupt. In the story, C.J. Stroud, the rookie quarterback for the Houston Texans, gave just a nod to the fact that the prison industrial complex needs some work. The whole system is bad. And of course, saying that there are criminals, there are bad guys, there are people that deserve to be in jail and deserve to never get taken out of jail. But the system as it works right now is kind of crappy. Now, I'm a bit upset that I did not put CJ Stroud in this week in my fantasy football league, going, of course, for Patrick Mahomes, who's been kind of in a slump where Stroud scored about 45 points and Mahomes only 15. Still won, by the way, so I'm still underwater, though, still under 500, trying to get back to playoffs contention. But C.J. Stroud's taking his platform to the big level early on, doing big things in Houston as a football player, big things as a rookie, and speaking his mind off the bat. Will this become a story where we talk about another football player who needs to just shut up and play, or will people actually listen to what he has to say? You can engage in the story, and we'll talk more about this one tomorrow if you deem it worthy. Now, we're going to talk right now about a a sponsor that I deem worthy because they take a lot of money out of my pocket. In fact, I looked at my Rocket Money account today and saw that they took some more money out of my pocket for my AppSumo subscription. That is AppSumo, and it is allowing me to get great deals on software packages that get me to do better things. Not quite grammatically correct. I should probably get some sort of grammar checker from AppSumo to fix that. AppSumo gives you great deals on great products. Most of them lifetime deals to get you started with a brand new offering so that they can get a big influx of cash to work on things and you can get a chance to use things that may be a competitor to those very famous brand name type stuff. Those things have been out there for a while, but these are newer offerings that will get better, will grow on. And the big thing about having lifetime subscriptions, as they improve, as they change, as they upgrade, you keep getting what they get for nothing extra. I have paid for many lifetime subscription deals from AppSumo that I use. Most of them continues to this day. Most of them have not been outgrown. The biggest one I use right now is one called Stencil, which is let's say a online Photoshop alternative. And right now it is cheaper because it's free than Canva. Maybe not quite as detailed, but it is pretty much free. It does what I needed to do, and I don't pay anything and worry about any subscriptions from anybody else because of that. Other than some PowerPoint, we are good. So check out AppSumo for yourself. Find out what deals you need to get on right now, and watch your wallet because they're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. Check them out at our link. This is theconversationproject.com/AppSumo. This is theconversationproject.com/AppSumo. AppSumo. Tell Uncle Noah we said hey, and learn more about Noah Kagan, the creator, the founder, and the man behind AppSumo, and his career as a person who I would see, me may even say, sort of stumbled into things and learned some stuff and just took the best parts of those lessons. He kept applying them going forward. Learn more about him and see his story, see how, maybe it's inspirational to you, and get more stuff out of him. Get more stuff out of us by going to our website. This is theconversationproject.com and learning about the Conversation Project. We have lots of things we do for conversational stuff all day long. We have this thing here, which we do starting live every weekday morning at 5:50 a.m. to give you things you might not have heard to get your day started if you watch it very early, or just kind of get you caught up on some things if you catch it a few hours later. We also have this thing in a newsletter form. You can just check out the link, 6:20 a.m. It goes live. We have it in audio form, so play us on your podcast player, and the video's there forever. We put out weekend shows that give you the highlights for the entire week of stuff, and we give you drops of different news stories in different vignettes and videos and shorts versions all over the place. So find out where we are all over the place by going to our website. Go to our feeds and tell me what to talk about every single day. That's on Facebook and Twitter. Email us at the conversation inbox the conversation inbox at gmail.com and let me know what to do going forward. And if you want to get deeper in detail on what we got going on, go to our website, click on the partnerships page, and be a partner, get closer. I know that's a lot of calls to action, but this is the only shot we have of getting calls to action. So if you're here, we appreciate you listening because that's part of it. Make sure you're doing the simple free stuff, going to the website, seeing more about us, checking out sponsors there while you're there, and go into the feeds and the email to give us some direction on what to do. No direction necessary. We're going to get you into the fun stuff for today. And the fun stuff always begins every single weekday morning with birthdays. So birthday for today is Joni Mitchell. Joni Mitchell never lies, y'all. Joni Mitchell have a birthday on today. There are other folks going on there, but it was basically classic birthday today to get in for your birthdays on this morning. And Joni Mitchell is leading the pack with the birthdays we are celebrating. Also there, Christopher Knight and American Spurlock. See, it's pretty much all classics. For your history lesson for today, going back to 2020, way back 2020, former Vice President Joe Biden was declared the winner of the U.S. presidential election 4 days after the race was over. That on this 7th of November, so it gave enough time to have a vote and then go through everything on what's going on. We shall see We shall see, because the first Tuesday in November is when voting go on. So 4 days after everything went through, we finally decided who the winner was, because of the complications of things and voting counts and electoral colleges and things like that. It's all a big thing. We'll see a lot of that going on, as today is actually election day in many states, if you have a big election going forward. And of course, this time next year, probably like this today minus 2 days or so, we will be voting for another president, or maybe the same guy, or technically the same guys, because it looks like it'll probably be Biden versus Trump again. And finally, wrapping up on this day with our celebration, Bittersweet Chocolate with Almonds Day. You may not be a fan of bittersweet chocolate. You may not be a fan of almonds in your candy or nuts at all. Guess what? Today, you can just sort of stick it. Today, we're celebrating Bittersweet Chocolate Day. The dark, bitter chocolate and toasted almonds, when consumed separately, might seem fairly simple, even bland, but when combined, the two flavors blend together to bring about a tasty treat that really just can't be beat. And if you don't like it, you got your issues. No real actual origin to this, but it's basically, this is they think came down to the 18th century, first found in 18th century cookbook of mixing darker chocolate, bitter chocolate, and almonds. Enjoy one of those today, and if you don't, I've already stated, you can go stick it. In the meantime, don't stick it for anything else, but stick around for all day long. We won't be here for much more than about another 90 seconds, but stick around throughout the day at our website and on our feeds, so we can give you more stories to vote up for tomorrow. It's that simple. Today has been Tuesday, November the 7th, 2023, and this edition of Things You Might Have Heard is all done for the day. Make sure you stop by our feeds, as we said, so you can get a chance to vote the stories up for every single morning. Tomorrow we'll pick 15 of the top 15 stories, and we'll pick 8 of those to present to you here, and just give us the love there. Also, stop by our website, see where it can be found on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok for the shorts that we have on various news items. We're looking for your comments, looking for your commentary. That's how conversation works here. And the way you engage in stories as well gives me the ideas of what stories to do pop-offs on throughout the day. Make sure you are staying limber, hydrated, and on task for all the grand things you are here on this earth to do. And have a great Tuesday. Enjoy your Tuesday. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your full week, because we're going to have a great week. We're going to push forward and do that. Be prepared to enjoy a great Wednesday coming tomorrow.